quick question on the female front, just coming from the Women's Coaching Symposium. Any science or data behind any differences in males to females when it comes to the skill set of breathing? Or are males and females pretty similar? Any special uh, needs or considerations for either group?
Physiologically, there's not a tremendous amount of difference, right? A couple issues with females, though. One would be pelvic floor dysfunction, right? You usually don't see it at the youth level, but having babies is brutal on your body, right? And because it's a topic no one likes to talk about, right? But most women aren't told what to do after childbirth and things like that to help get their pelvic floor operating correctly again. Incontinence, all these things that can happen. It's a in the CrossFit circles where they do a lot of Olympic lifts. I'm sure there's some weird Reddit posts and groups that and stuff like that talk about it, but those become big issues, right? And your pelvic floor, you can still consider it your little diaphragm. Men too, right? And so they should actually move together and work together. This is your diaphragm, and your torso and your pelvic floor. They should be moving together with breathing. So there are physiologically, there's obviously differences in pelvic floors between men and women to a degree. But physiologically, no difference. So the exercises, I wouldn't necessarily change it. The one problem comes with females is, one, if there's any pelvic floor dysfunction, there's usually breathing dysfunction, right? And so you have to fix both of those things. And two, it depends a little bit on the age group, because especially if you're in the like middle school age. Oh man, I remember going through that with all my girls. Ooh, that was a painful time, right? But when kids start getting, and this happens with females, right? When the hormones are kicking in and girls are getting chestier, they want to hide them. That it's just, and posture, in the thoracic spine starts to get very flexible, hyperkyphotic, we call it, right? And like I talk in the course, right? We talk about when we do the thoracic glides, and just talk about how if you induce that, you can't breathe into your diaphragm, right? So that becomes, it's almost more mental, emotional kind of a thing. But those kind of things lead to, or other stressors in life lead to these bad breathing patterns. And maybe it's only because I've had daughters, right? But it feels like that can happen more at the youth level with girls, right, than boys.
Yeah.
And so the
Well, and we
breathing
talk
patterns.
about the hormonal impact for female athletes. But if you think about it, I mean, cortisol is a hormone, the stress hormone. Like everything we talk about with breathing is hormone, and a lot of them like hormone regulation too. So I wonder, it would just be really neat to dig into some research around. I don't even know if there is some, but it's great insights. Just something that on the
I'm
heels
not
of this event, I'm like, ooh, there's probably something more here to dig into on the female space and how performance
Yeah.
breathing really can shift things for them during that period of time.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not off the top of my head familiar. I'm going to do some little bit of research to see. Uh, the very sad thing about sports science is, much like all medical science, most studies are done on men in their 20s.
So if you ever want to do a study, let me know on female athletes, because we can get you connected to the Tucker Center for research of women and girls in sports. And they always ask me, do you have research? We are willing to do research. And I think this would be such a fantastic
Yeah.